Good evening, guys. It is Tuesday, March 4th, 2025. This Bathrobe business. I got some decaf coffee and I've got the news. So let's jump into it. So today's stories, they're all tariffs. So everything is tariff related today. It is the dominant force in the market. It's how will tariffs affect cars? How will tariffs affect groceries? How will tariffs help? How will tariffs hurt? Everything is tariffs. So some things I want to talk about real quick. I want to show you guys some stats. So just to yeah, there we go. So I wanted to show you guys the fluctuations in Bitcoin just today alone. At one point, Bitcoin was down to about no, that's not today. I'm sorry. At one point today, Bitcoin was down to about 82,000. Similarly, the Dow Jones had about a 650 point drop as well, at one point being down to about 42,488 before somewhat recovering to 42,795. Oil remained fairly stable. Oil did not really have those kinds of problems, which is why I'm sorry, not oil, gold, which is why I always say gold is a fantastic reserve. But as far as some of the financial markets and some of the financial instruments like Bitcoin, they are having a roller coaster day. This shouldn't be a surprise. Seeing as how this is major instability in the market. What else is compounding instability in the market is the fact that these tariffs might not actually still be in effect in a couple weeks. So, news story coming out on Fox Business where the Commerce Secretary Lutnick said that they may be reaching a compromise as soon as Wednesday, and that these tariffs might be off the table. This is definitely Donald Trump's greatest weakness right now. Having a tariff policy on its own isn't a bad thing. Well, I'll correct that. I think it's bad because I'm a free trade kind of guy. But you can make the argument for it that having tariffs is a good thing. What's more difficult to make the argument is so much instability, so much volatility. The tariffs are on, the tariffs are off, the tariffs are on, the tariffs are off. Yes, there is a certain level to negotiation and strategy here, but at the same time, you need certain levels of financial security. The markets don't know how to react to these things. They don't know where to make their investments. They don't know where to put their money. So part of the difficulty here is that it keeps going on and off the table. Canada has already retaliated with their own tariffs on at least $30 billion worth of U.S. imports, with another $125 billion coming in 21 days. Mexico has announced it's going to have reciprocal tariffs as soon as Sunday. But again, these tariffs might disappear depending on what happens behind closed doors. We still don't know. One of the few places that talks about tariffs being a good thing actually comes from labor. So the United Auto Workers Union on Tuesday hailed President Trump's new tariff, saying it was necessary to end the free trade disaster. So this is very interesting, where you have a strong disconnect between U.S. auto manufacturers and U.S. auto workers. Obviously, not entirely surprised because these two forces are often in opposition to each other, but the tariffs are fantastic for labor. They allow local competition. I should say local competition with global markets, and they allow rise in union wages and public American wages as well. So for workers, this is fantastic. If these go into effect, this would help the U.S. Labor force. Well, let's not forget that globalization is one of the things that did destroy America's workforce. We saw massive drops in manufacturing, the Rust Belt, oil production, everything in the United States started to fall apart once globalization started. Donald Trump is trying to reverse that. And so that's why workers across the United States should probably be happy with this. Where it's not good is in the financial sector, where a lot of the money is made through arbitrage. Now, one more thing I want to underscore with this. Like I said, everything here today is about tariffs. So I don't really have more stories to share with you guys other than these ones. One interesting thing with Trump is that he keeps saying that these tariffs are not going to be paid by U.S. consumers. And in fact, he just gave a speech in front of a joint session of Congress about an hour or so ago. I did not have a chance to listen to that speech yet. I did hear a highlight that he said this is kind of a transitory period where we're going to have a rough patch, but then we'll be better on the other side, perhaps. But one of the most important things that Donald Trump constantly says is that U.S. Consumers are not going to pay these tariffs. Foreign countries are. Obviously, that's not exactly how tariffs work. But if I was to try to figure out what Donald Trump means by that, it's the fact that he's saying that he believes that the U.S. consumer market is so strong and such a premium market that other countries are willing to essentially eat the cost of those tariffs, take the cost of their goods down by 25% in order to give U.S. consumers that benefit, and that 25% will then go into tax revenue, and consumers won't feel a difference. That's at least what I believe he means by those statements. Now, in some industries, that is possible. In industries like tech, in certain industries like car parts and everything else, that may be a possibility. I'm not going to overstress that part because a lot of times those manufacturing contracts margins are very profit thin. I think where you're not going to see that is in many household goods, things like groceries, things like home goods. I don't think there's enough profit there for those manufacturers to be able to take 25% hits and not pass those on to consumers. So I'm struggling to find out exactly what the strategy here is. I think a lot of people are, but we'll wait to see what happens. Again, this could all be for naught because this could end up being just a negotiating tool that Trump is using to gain some sort of leverage against these countries. He's talked about fentanyl with Mexico and with Canada, but despite the fact of both countries seeming to abide by his wishes, he has progressed forward with those tariffs. There may be other things that he is wanting behind closed doors that isn't being made known to the public yet that he'll gain and then be able to cut the tariffs back. I think one way or another, he showed how serious he is with the tariffs. I don't think we're going to see 100% regress on these things. If they're 25 now, they may go down to 10 or 15%, but I think tariffs are more or less baked into the formula here. It is interesting to see that if these tariffs do go into effect, it's obviously going to be inflationary. I think that's undoubted. But it will be interesting what starts to happen in Q3 and Q4 for a lot of major corporations. Because again, these kinds of tariffs are great for labor, but not great for things like venture capital, private equity, etc. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens with Wall Street. Again, I'm always an advocate more for Main Street than Wall Street. I just don't think this is going to have that great of an effect on Main Street as well. But I am waiting to see if I am wrong. That's pretty much it. Short and sweet today. Like I said, everything is about tariffs. So I hope tomorrow I have more news stories for you. There will probably be some sort of news or some sort of progress if there will be any change in the tariff policy currently, because tomorrow is Wednesday. And Lutnick said that there could be something that comes down the pipeline. So I'll see you guys all back here tomorrow. I hope you have a very productive Wednesday, and I'll see you in the evening.